Stephen Upstone, CEO and founder of LoopMe. Welcome to Cannes. It's Thursday. It's almost getting towards the close of it. There's been a lot of talk about AI here this week, as usual. You have AI at your core, really. How do you find intelligent media delivery in a way that your clients can understand?
We tend to talk more about results and what they get from the advertising. Occasionally, if you talk to 20 clients, maybe one or two want to really get into the nuts and bolts, but you look at the outcomes that you can drive. So we're working in brand performance around taking what used to be working really well on traditional television, bringing that into mobile and optimizing results in the mid-funnel. So they'll look at things like purchase intent, consideration that they've been relying on from big guys like Cantal, Millward Brown for years and years. And then we can show incrementality. And if there are some people in the team who want to go a little bit deeper, we can even get into which model is the current best performer, which data set is the most important to them on a univariate or multivariate basis. But so 90% of clients, it's all about the results. 10%, they want to get into the weeds.
Well, of course, we're all consumers, right? You're a consumer as well as a business person. I'm a consumer as well as a journalist. We're all surfing the web. We're all being exposed to these ads. In form factors like the mobile space, is there a kind of perfect length that an ad should be? Because I know that I personally watch some and they're way too long for what I'm trying to do.
Funny enough, I haven't done a lot of analysis around that, but time lengths are tending to come in at around 15 seconds. That's where you can get sound on a good amount of video.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're doing shorter bumpers, but definitely to get that kind of immersive brand experience, it's sometimes important also to tell a story with sound and music. And I remember watching something, I think it was more like a 60 or a 90-second video, which was coming from Adidas, people doing parkour on roofs, and that was being shared. I personally watched the whole thing, loved it so much, I bought a pair for me, a pair for my wife, and a pair for my niece as well. Wow. So pretty good return on ad spend from that particular exposure.
Yeah, I suppose if an ad has real emotive appeal, you are going to watch it all the way through. And of course, you're in the industry as well. Brand uplift, talking about brands, is your signature metric. What makes it a more reliable success indicator than traditional KPIs, for example?
So I think the important thing to remember is it's never replacing those. So you can have your cake and eat it. So they're still looking at viewability, brand safety, impressions, completed views, all the kind of nuts and bolts media delivery. But we've always had the strong view that you should always ask yourself at least one more question, at least find out what was the actual effect that happened that was measurable and optimizable. Otherwise, you're just looking at audiences, reach and frequency. And so there's definite correlation between purchase intent and purchase. Nielsen even showed that each 1% of awareness can drive 1% of sales. So clients understand that, they've seen that for years, and we're just allowing them to take that as a better way of optimizing and measuring delivery of brand advertising, bringing it into this mid-funnel performance part of the market, which in the US alone we'd see as about a $120 billion opportunity. So it's a big space that's going to transform the industry.
It's quite a big space indeed. We'll talk about big spaces. We're here in Cannes for the Cannes Lions this week. Huge space, a lot of people here. What sort of conversations have you been having with your industry peers here, and who have you been talking to?
Yeah, so LoopMe makes money from a few different constituents. We work with agencies, clients, and there's a big holdcos and independent agencies. And there we tend to talk about how we can make their mobile advertising, mobile video advertising as good as television has been or better. And so it's really all about driving performance on their existing assets, whether or not that's because they have budget decreases or just have a greater scrutiny from the CFO. They want to take a lot more view on the return on investment. So that's really the conversations we're having on that side. The other group of people we work with are platforms. So we don't always do all of the work. Sometimes we'll add the AI to do almost kind of mass personalization and push inventory. We work a lot with SDK and app, but also CTV and web, and push that into other platforms, DSPs and SSPs. So for them it's about efficiency, quality of media, and just getting better results. It's the kind of thing that mass personalization can do very well.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of acronyms there, and CTV, of course, connected TV. I've heard that mentioned a lot this week.
It's been growing a lot, and we've seen it pairs very well with mobile video. So linear audiences are shrinking in the last 10 years, almost halving. Mobile audiences are increasing, almost doubling in the last 10 years. And budgets are starting to flow with that kind of change. And connected television is obviously much more targetable, and it's great for the consumer, but oftentimes those are paid subscription services. So there's not always enough inventory in the or opportunities to see ads in the kind of premium area. So that's it's a very important space, and it works very well with mobile, but we've also developed technology which can optimize on a household level and measure on a household level. So we work with people like Warner Discovery, HBO, to actually measure the effectiveness of connected television, and then we can also optimize or learn in a campaign which households are more likely to be responding to a particular ad with all the other things going on in the world at that particular time.